Good morning, Cardinals, and welcome back to the 2021-22 school year. So I want to introduce Mr. Blaine here, and I'm Mr. Spring, your principal. And Mr. Perry is recording us today, so we want you to cut us a little slack because we are live today on this video, and we have no opportunity for error. So we're going to do our best to be error-free. With that, you ready to go, Mr. Blaine?
Ready to go. Hi, Cardinals. Hope you had a great summer, and let's do it this school year, huh?
Yeah. So first of all, the welcome back. As the summer went along, we really thought we might be in a little different place than we are today. However, we are where we are. And hopefully you're a little bit like me and you're thinking about not what didn't I get, but what did I get and what do I get to do instead of what you didn't get to do. And that's some of the topics we're going to talk about today. Some of the rules, some of the restrictions, some of the day-to-day stuff that keep our school safe, that keep us operating in a manner that's appropriate, and just things that we hope you will find as hopeful information so you can be a successful student at Medical Lake High School. Again, this COVID thing has put us in a place that is going to require a mask mandate to start the school year for sure. I'm an optimist, so I'd like to be optimistic about the possibility of who knows, one of these days. Maybe it loosens up. Maybe we get to wear them in less places. Maybe we get to be closer together than having to distance apart. All of those things. However, really the thing with these masks that you need to remember is when you are in the school building, these masks are required to be worn above your nose and over your mouth. Now, if you're in a classroom and you have a water bottle and you want to take a sip of water, then take a sip of water, put your mask back down, and go back to listening. We are going to allow water bottles in classrooms. However, there will be no eating in classrooms whatsoever. So remember that. So mask mandate in building. The masks are optional when you are outside, and you're going to have ample opportunities with your teachers and at lunch and different times potentially to be outside, but masks are optional outside. And when you are eating lunch, which means Mr. Blaine will talk to you about some of those locations we get to eat lunch, but when you are eating lunch, you will be obviously allowed to remove your mask to eat lunch.
Thanks, Mr. Spring. So Mr. Spring and I are just going to bounce back and forth with a couple of our key pieces of information for you here. My first item is bell schedules. Our bell schedules are slightly different this year. They can be found on the website so that you can go and look at these times. But basically, Monday and Tuesday are the same. Well, let me correct that. We're going back to our 6-period day, which last year we only had 3 periods a day. We're back to 6. And Monday and Tuesday, same schedule. Wednesday and Thursday will be block instruction for those classes. Again, just follow the bell schedule at school. You'll learn them. They're not tough. And Friday's schedule is also the same as it's always been, with a small change at the end of the day that we're calling FIT. And basically FIT could include an assembly, it could include CCR, a guest speaker, you name it. Every Friday, the last 30 minutes of the school day, will be a special FIT opportunity for students.
Okay. You're going to be, I think, happy to hear the next bit of information I'm going to provide for you. We are going back to where we were basically a year and a half ago, and we will be a full open campus at lunch. That means grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. We are an open campus. However, I have to be firm with you now and hope that you understand the responsibility that goes along with the trust that we put in you to have a fully open campus. The 2 years prior to COVID that we had an open campus, we had minimal, if any, issues with Medical Lake High School students and that privilege to go off campus. Meaning, what's the expectation? Expectation, obviously, is if you're going in a vehicle, make sure that you only have people in your vehicles that have permission to be in your vehicles. Another thing, you're going to be possibly going into a place like Harvest Foods, which, there's a responsibility with that. You got to represent yourself because it's during the school day. You got to represent yourself as a Medical Lake High School student. Most importantly, wherever you go, represent yourself. And also, most importantly, you have to get back to your next class on time after lunch. So, guys, once again, our worst day would be to hand you this opportunity and for you to mess it up for others. And sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes a few mess it up for the majority. So use this opportunity as a privilege and treat it with respect, and know that all during your lunch period when you're off campus, you are not only representing yourself, you are also representing Medical Lake High School. I think you got this. I know you did it before. I know you can do it again. And I know you always do the right thing. So make sure you do it in this case.
Well put, Mr. Spring. So on the topic of lunch, for students who choose to stay on campus, there's a shift from last year. Last year, we had designated locations by grade level where you were asked to eat lunch. And I want to thank you guys for, last year, you guys were awesome. And you did what you were supposed to do. You did what you were asked to do, even though it might not have been very much fun some days. So this year, for those who stay on campus, we are still going to have designated spots where you can eat lunch, but you don't have to go to any one of those spots, necessarily. You get to choose where you go. It's not grade level specific. You can go to a different spot each day. It's completely your call. So you can eat in the cafeteria, you can eat in the library, you can eat in the big gym, or you can eat outside in the courtyard. Or if you wanted to, you could eat in the cafeteria and then go to the courtyard afterwards so you can get some fresh air, maybe take your mask off, walk around, those kinds of things. Two things. We are not going to allow eating in the hallways. And secondly, we're not going to allow any walking in the hallways during lunch and whatnot, because we're trying to keep our hallways free and clear. Once the weather turns, that could impact what we're able to do, but for now, again, you have your designated locations, and then if you want to go outside and get some exercise, you can go outside and get some exercise. Our lunch detention room will be returning this year. Hopefully, not many people have to have lunch detention this year, but just as a reminder, if you skip class or you have unexcused absences, it could result in a lunch detention. In fact, it likely will. Or if you get in trouble and get a referral at school, that could result in a lunch detention as well. So I'm not going to spend much time on that, but felt it only fair that you guys obviously know that that's on the table again this year.
All right. One addition to eating locations, Mr. Blaine said, you can switch locations. To minimize exposure, we really hope that you will do your best, though, to try and stay in one location unless there's some need. So if you decide, well, I like the cafeteria and that works for you and you want to stay there, that would really help us out with exposure issues. Next one, lunch. One other lunch, Mr. Blaine. I think you forgot this one. Lunch is free again.
Hey!
So, anybody in the school that wants to eat lunch gets to eat lunch for free.
How about me, Mr. Spring?
No, not you.
I'm going to try it though, guys. We're going to see what they say.
However, don't throw me off. We're live.
I'm sorry.
However, when you do eat lunch, it will be a sack lunch, but it will be hot lunch, just like last year. You guys are all familiar. You were here last year, so no more need to talk or expand on that one anymore. Next one is lockers. We've had a lot of questions coming at us. Pre-COVID, probably about 25% of our students even used a locker. We're predominantly digital these days, which means we don't have you hauling around 4 or 5 textbooks like you used to in the middle school. So due to some of the potential issues related to COVID, we are not going to be using lockers at this point for this school year. However, we are going to allow you to use lockers in the locker room if you are in physical education class or if you are a participant in after-school sports activities. Those lockers will be available for you. If you do choose to use those lockers, make sure you bring a lock so you can lock your stuff up and have it be safe.
All right, guys, cell phones. This is an important one. I know, a hot topic. We are returning to our kind of our pre-COVID cell phone policy, which was our 3 strikes rule. And it's very simple. You can have your cell phone, you can be using your cell phone, talking on your cell phone before school, in between classes, at lunch, and after school. Nobody's gonna bug you. During your class period, that means when the bell rings to start class, you gotta put your cell phone away. Put it away, leave it away. You can obviously get it back out again when the bell rings to dismiss that class. But if you are found to have your cell phone out or be using it, your teacher is going to have you go to the office to turn your phone in for the day, and at which point you have gotten your first strike. So with that, when that happens, students, please just be the student that brings your phone down, turn it in for the day, get your phone back at the end of the day. It's a very small deal. Where it becomes a bigger deal is when students refuse to comply because they don't feel that it's fair. So everybody's been warned. You got to have your cell phones away during class time. If you get busted, pay the price, get your phone back at the end of the day. It's not a big deal. Secondly, for this segment, tardies. Get to class on time. Mr. Spring mentioned, coming back after lunchtime if you leave, but that applies to every single period during the day from 1 through 6. Get to class on time. Don't push it. If you are late to class and the bell rings, your teacher is going to have you come back to the office where you have to get a pass, and we will give you a couple freebies each quarter. I think it's 2 freebies per quarter, but beyond that, you're going to subject yourself to progressive discipline. Get to class on time. We know you can do it.
All right, this next one is one that I know some of you get tired of hearing from us, but this is a school. This is a place of business. We're trying to prepare you for life beyond high school. And this next topic is an ongoing issue at times, and especially when the weather's beautiful, like it is right now today. It's about 80 degrees, I think. Dress code. Guys, I try to put the ticket in your hand, you know what I'm saying? Instead of getting a ticket, kind of like driving a car, is to look at yourself in the morning. Think about how you look. Think about, is what I have on appropriate for school? And that could be a complete disagreement between what Mr. Blaine believes to be appropriate for school and what you believe to be appropriate for school. But just the regular stuff that we're dealing with, your styles of clothing are completely changing, and we understand that. And we're trying to even work and evolve in some ways because we know that, for the ladies, we know the crop tops are the thing. But there's also, lengths of crop top, and so I want you to think about that. Those types of decisions in when you're coming to school, before school. The holes in the jeans are another one. Think about how high are the holes in the jeans, and really do us a favor and monitor yourself so that we don't have to monitor you. You guys are all sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school. We know that styles are a big thing, and we're going to do our best to be as flexible as possible with you guys. But when you get pulled over and dress coded, you're going to have to make some adjustments. So please, use your good common sense this year. Let's not have difficult conversations because you guys are pushing the limits. We appreciate that. We know you know what we're talking about. So let's be smart with that.
All right, gang, the last item on my list was student parking. I call this one a layup because it's pretty dang simple. We have a student parking lot that is on Washington Street. we ask that you please park in the student parking lot and park correctly. There's other places around school that, show themselves as available parking, but we try to reserve those for our guests, especially the ones in front of the school, in front of the main office. So we just ask that you please park in the student parking lot. And if you need to move your car after school for sports, we get it. You can move your car down to the district office parking lot, or on the sidewalk down there. But please, students, park in that designated area up there on Washington Street, which is where the student parking lot is at. I guess in closing for me, and I'm gonna kick it back to Mr. Spring as we get done. Last year was a tough year, but I wanna recognize that our attendance, academic performance, and extracurricular performance, in spite of a difficult year, was phenomenal. You guys showed up when it could have been really easy to check out, and I got to give you props for that. So nice work, and Mr. Spring and I are tremendously excited to start this new school year. Yeah, we have to start it in masks, but compared to last year, we're way ahead where we were last year. So looking forward to getting to know you guys better and better. And don't be a stranger. Come up to Mr. Blaine and Mr. Spring and say, hey, how you doing? And introduce yourself again to us, because sometimes with these masks, it's hard to see the face. Go Cards.
Thanks, Mr. Blaine. In closing, guys, we are going to be getting back to some normalcy, meaning first day of school, full-time instruction, at school with your friends, not segregated by alphabet, for lunch. There's a lot to celebrate, but what we've kind of lost track of because of COVID is some of the things that we used to live by here. And you see it all over the school on posters, but it says red, incredible. The red in the middle of incredible stands for what, Mr. Blaine?
Responsibility, excellence, and determination.
That's right. And also we have a matrix that's hanging in our hallways that we want to start thinking about what kinds of things at Medical Lake High School are just common expectations that are above all reasonable. But with that, I want to get back to welcoming you back. I want to tell you that I wouldn't trade this job for the world to be able to support students in the Medical Lake School District as your principal. I can't wait to see your faces coming through the door. And it's going to be a great year. I hope you put your chin up. I hope you come in the door confident. I hope you come in the door excited. And I hope that your year stays that throughout the entire school year. So thank you guys very much. Welcome back and have a great first day.